Hi, and welcome to the Imperfect Podcast. My name is Deb Crow, and I will be your host. Join me on this journey as we meet heart-centered leaders from all over the globe. Lots of interesting questions, interesting conversation, and find out what makes a leader. How do they handle uncertainty and complexity? How do they lead in a time that is volatile? Join us. Welcome back to Imperfect, the Heart-Centered Leadership podcast. And today's an exciting interview. I have had one other heart-centered leader within the culinary management sector on my podcast early on, and that was Victoria Fabio. And today I'm excited to introduce you to Jeff Metz. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He is the president and CEO of Metz Culinary Management. Jeff has over 30 years in the restaurant business, as well as extensive operational knowledge within the hospitality industry, including employee retention, relation management, operational excellence, and outstanding client partnership and communication skills. Jeff began his career as a sales rep with Heinz Company, and then he later joined the Metz Group as manager for the Toms River, New Jersey, T.G.I Fridays, increasing their sales and guest satisfaction. His industry knowledge is massive, and I'm very, very excited. So Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Deb. Appreciate it.
I have so many questions. I had to narrow them down. So I'm going to ask you 4 leadership questions. So are you ready?
Okay, I am.
2020, Jeff, has been such an impactful year with COVID. And I know it's especially hit the hospitality industry. So how has Metz Culinary Management sustained operations, and did you have to get innovative in implementing new strategies, or share with us a little bit about how things have been for you since March?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And this year has been a crazy year for our industry, and it's still pretty crazy. We started off the year, and Metz Culinary Management is a food service management company based out of Pennsylvania. And I'll tell you, the following year or the previous year, we were a thriving company. Things were really on the upswing. We were really growing in the top 50 food management companies. We were ranked 15th, which is a great spot for us to be. We're operating in 22 states from Maine to Florida on the East Coast. And all that came crashing to a halt early on in the year. And obviously with the things in the world and with COVID, it's been very, very traumatic for our business. We were in the process of, growing our business, and I can talk a little bit more later about exactly what we do. But really it became an issue about, the safety of our employees, the safety of our partners who are in the field. We also own and operate restaurants. So we were worrying about the safety of our team members in the restaurants, also the guests that come in. And so it got really tricky when, the government stepped in, and they had to make some hard decisions about closing restaurants down and our businesses down. And so we were really in a tough position to figure out, what do we do? How do we continue to move? And it was a very, very interesting time for us. And it's still, I kind of feel like, it was changing on an hourly basis almost. And we were making decisions on the fly. And so, yeah, it's really kind of changed the way we thought about our business. We had to kind of reimagine how we feed people. For an example, a lot of places that we would operate, whether it be a hospital, a K through 12, whether it be a college, university, or corporate dining account, we got to the situation where, we'd have salad bars in every location. All of a sudden, those things became obsolete. So now we had to find new ways to kind of feed, college kids, how we had to feed hospital workers. And as you can imagine, hospitals became really the forefront of everything that people were doing, because that's where the people were in the hospitals. And so, our teams, I was so proud of our healthcare team. They just did such an amazing job taking care of people and really, working very selflessly to support our partners. And I was just very proud of that. But again, we had to kind of change the way we reimagined the business. And, a perfect example was, when these healthcare workers, and boy, I'll tell you, they were just amazing and true heroes. When they were in these hospitals working, and they were working, 15, 16, even longer days trying to care for COVID patients, they didn't have time to go to the grocery store, to go to, a store to get food for their families. So what we did is we actually opened up little stores for them where we had toilet paper, which you couldn't get a lot of, and they could get lunch meat sliced, and they could get grab and go items and, home meal replacements to take home, because they couldn't get to the stores themselves because they were working so hard to take care of people. That's just a small example, but I mean, again, it really changed the way we do business, and it will forever.
Well, I love that. And that's one of the reasons I wanted you on this show, because you are such a heart-centered leader within your own business of Metz Culinary Management, but I also know that you extend that into the community, which I want to talk to you about in a few minutes. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the reasons I named this podcast Imperfect is all the leaders that I've interviewed, and this week we're coming up to 50 episodes, which I'm really excited about. We all have imperfections. So what imperfections, Jeff, do you bring to your heart-centered leadership?
Well, a lot, I think, unfortunately. But, I think, when we were in this process, and, it really, what I think we do better today than we did as it started was really the communication process. And, as we kind of got into this thing, and everything was, like I said, I mean, decisions and things were changing hourly. And certainly every day we were getting new correspondence from the government, from our governor, from governors in all the 22 states we're in. And so we really had to kind of change how we did business. Out of abundance of caution, we took our home office support, and we had most of them work from home. And so, where I think the imperfection for us was, really, the communication process, and kind of like we're talking right now, Deb, over a podcast, and we were talking a little bit earlier today over a Zoom call. I mean, we've really perfected that. And I think that's really been a great tool for us to kind of communicate to the masses. And, I think when you have an organization like ours, and we have over 8,000 employees in those 22 states and over 400 partners in different types of businesses and industries, it got really tricky to really keep a solid line of communications. And not only just with our team members, but also with our partners. And they were kind of looking to us for guidance about, how we're going to support them in this time, how we're going to do things. And so, just having my team members in the field and at the support center, it's just, I couldn't be more proud of the way that they would go out and communicate with our folks, making sure, number one, first and foremost, are they okay? Are their families okay? Do they need anything? Money, food, any kind of support. And we've given a lot of that support to our team members who need it. But it's also communicating to the partners and making sure they have everything they need, and communicating with our vendor partners, which is extremely critical, because food supplies were being rationed, and we have a great relationship with our main supplier, U.S. Food Service, and we're actually their longest, and I don't say oldest, their longest lasting partner. And so when we would go to them and say, hey, we need this, and this for healthcare, or if there's an issue with a hurricane in Florida, these guys are boom, boom, boom. They're right there for us, making sure we have everything we need to get to our partners and to their guests very quickly. And so, I think, those we would have, a frequency of cadence of meetings where we would, and Zoom calls to make sure everybody was on the same page. And my leadership team, my sister, Greg Polk, our Chief Operating Officer, Cheryl McCann, our Human Resource Vice President, Brian Buffalino is our in-house counsel. All these folks, Rick Sell, who runs our restaurants. I mean, these guys all kind of worked together and really did a great job over communicating to our team, which started out, as you say, imperfectly, but it got better over time and it's continuing to get better. And I think to me, that was the big key of the thing that we learned quickly that we needed to do way better.
Well, that's phenomenal. And what a great story. And it just segues beautifully into my next question, Jeff. You demonstrate such an exceptional level of heart-centered leadership as both an entrepreneur, CEO of your family business, but you're also a community builder and a philanthropist. So share with me how you got involved with Share Our Strength and the No Kids Go Hungry organization.
Well, yeah, thank you. I mean, and I think that's something we are so proud of. And it starts with our founder, my father, John Metz, who started, this is actually his second go-round in a company of this size and magnitude. And he's certainly a remarkable man who's very active in our business today. And somebody who I take a lot of great counsel from as I'm in my position. And I think when he started this business, it was really about taking care of people. And we got started really in the healthcare business. And he was a manager in healthcare, in the food service healthcare operation. And that's how we got into this kind of food service that we do. And it's always been about taking care of people, feeding patients. And obviously, if you're in a hospital, you're not in a great spot. So the one really good thing you have to look forward to is getting out of the hospital, number one, but also when you're in there, good quality food. And so, so we think about it from that perspective, taking care of people. And that goes to our employees. And we really kind of create this family atmosphere. And I'm not sure everybody feels that way, but our goal is to kind of make people feel like they're part of our family. And hopefully that comes across. But it's also about taking care of the communities that we live in. And, and I think we're in so many different communities, which is amazing. And I'm so proud of the growth of this company. But I think it's very important that you have to give back in the communities. And, there's a lot of things. We get requests for charities every day, and we do our best to meet every one of them. But my sister and I and our family really talked about, going forward, on what do we really want to get behind? And obviously, being a food company, it's about really taking care of people who can't feed themselves, who don't have the ability, don't have the wherewithal, and underprivileged children and people that can't get food. We wanted to try to really focus our efforts on that. And so, we got involved with both of those charities you mentioned. But it's something it's really it's in our heart to take care of people. And believe me, we are not a greedy family. And so we really like to kind of give back to the community. We're doing a lot. We're doing some stuff right now in an organization up here where our corporate office is in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, called CEO. And what we're doing is we're actually donating stuff for Thanksgiving meals that are coming up for people that don't have the ability to do that. We do at Ruth's Chris, which is one of our restaurants that we run in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. We have a big golf outing every year. We raise money for Dinners for Kids, which is a local charity in our market. And we've raised this year, even with COVID, we raised $45,000, which is fantastic and takes care of a lot of people and a lot of meals. And so, again, I think this is kind of the way my father raised us. My brother, I have a brother in the business, John Metz Jr., and my sister, Maureen, who is in our family business here in Pennsylvania. And obviously my father and the values that he's had growing up and really taking care of people. And it's kind of rubbed off on us, and it's really become our mission, and it's become part of our culture, and it's in our values. And so, the people that we try to bring on and be part of our our family businesses have those values, and it's something we're extremely proud of. So I appreciate you asking me about that.
Well, we're so aligned on this podcast interview because you've just led me beautifully into my last leadership question, which is about John Metz Sr. So
Yeah,
this is wonderful.
almost like we rehearsed it.
And we didn't. This is like a one take. There's been
Yeah.
no practice here.
Oh man.
Your father is 80 years old now. He began his career.
He will not admit that.
He will not.
No,
He's 80 years young.
Yes. Oh, he is. Yeah.
Started his career in the food service management industry in 1967. Has won a variety of prestigious awards. And you shared a little bit in my last question, but growing up with such an incredible father and seeing, the true value of a heart-centered leader and entrepreneur, what do you feel are the top 3 traits that your dad has instilled in you that you've carried on the business with?
Well, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I mean, he's a remarkable man. We're very fortunate that he's our father. He's really kind of led us in the path of this food service, and he's just a very caring and giving person. And but he also is very demanding, and we need to live our values. We need to live the standards that we do, and hopefully I'm carrying on that same trait, and hopefully my brother is, and my sister is as well. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, it's hard to tell you. I mean, when you grow up with him, and he's certainly a very very rare story, I think, in our industry. We finished high school. He would probably tell you barely. He never went to college, and he was he's a hardworking guy who has a zest for life, and he's always asking questions. And him and we work very well together. He works well with my brother and my sister. We're all kind of a very tight family knit unit, and it's because of kind of his grounding and kind of what he believes in. I think what I look about early on watching him, I think, the first thing, and which is what we're all about, is hospitality. He's constantly, checking to people's needs and whether it's a team member, and he still does today. When he goes in, he sits and he talks to people. First place he goes when he goes in, and I've kind of adopted this as well, is the first place we go in, we'll go into the dish room and talk to the dishwashers and make sure they're good, make sure he's, and then we'll, work our way around. But that's the kind of hospitality that I think, we've built one of our values around, and it's really kind of, it's always stuck with us. And he has a lot of integrity, and he's always kind of lived his life like that. I think that's how we built our company, is really around integrity and kind of doing the right thing for our partners, for our employees, for our vendors. And it's something that, we don't compromise on. We're integrity driven. We try to do what we say we're going to do. And then, I said a little bit earlier, I mean, he's relentless on the details, and I think so that really drives the quality of our company, and I know it drives the quality of the work that our team members do here. And it's something that, I have that same kind of relentless for the details. And I think it's probably passed down in our genes, and my brother and my sister have it as well. And are we, I'm talking about my brother and my sister, but I mean, we have people here that have been with us since day one. And these people are our family members, and they have the same values, the same drive that we have, which makes it really easy and kind of makes it really a cohesive team. And it's something that, it's what we build on. I mean, that we don't have, I have a few salespeople working. They do a fantastic job for us, but we're growing on our reputation and on referrals. And to me, that's so important, that we're doing such a good job that one of our partners will say, you have to go with Metz, because they deliver what they say they're going to deliver. They drive quality, they drive satisfaction. And to me, that is like the ultimate compliment. And, again, that's really based on starting from my father. And it comes down to us. And like I said, hopefully I probably pale in comparison to him. I know I do, but hopefully I try to deliver the same kind of message to the team members that he's always kind of instilled in us, and he has us playing with a lot of confidence right now. And I think it's because the support he gives us, the love he gives our family, and not just our family, but all of our team members. And, honestly, this company is his third child for sure, or fourth child, I should say. And so it's something that we really try to take care of. We preserve. Our name is on this company, so we work extremely hard to protect our reputation, but we work even harder to protect the reputation of our partners and our team members. So it's something we're very proud of, and he's truly an amazing story that I think it's rare that you see these kind of people, not go to college and start companies, not just once, but twice, that are, in the top of their field in the country, and with such a great reputation. So it's something I'm proud to carry on. And I know my sister is, I know my brother is, and I have 3 kids. I'm not sure if they're interested in the family business, but I hope they will be, to kind of carry on what their grandfather started. So.
Well, I think it's legendary, and I think it's beautiful, and I can just hear the amount of love and respect that you have for your dad. And I love that old idiom, the devil is in the detail. I remember my Irish Nana saying that to me, to teach us the mysterious elements that can be hidden in the details, meaning that, we look at something that might seem simple at first, but if we take a little bit more time and a little bit more effort, we always can over deliver, and especially in the culinary management business. So it's so neat to hear you recite that, and that's one of the guiding principles that your dad has taught you. So what a wonderful story.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch gears now, and we're going to switch to the Fab Four, and I'm going to ask you 4 fun questions, and it's whatever's just sitting on the top of Jeff's mind. Are you ready?
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay, you're in the food industry, so you got to be a foodie. So question number 1, what's your favorite meal and why?
Oh boy. I'll tell you, honestly, my wife Susan's really she's become a great cook at our house. And I think my favorite meal is her lasagna that she makes. And it's unbelievable. I'll have to send you some to Toronto.
There you go. It's made with love. That's why.
It is.
And there's nothing like a home cooked meal, right?
It's absolutely true.
Now let's have some fun.
Yeah.
We're going to create a new menu at one of your restaurants, and I want you to name a new dish based on the year 2020. What would you call it and why?
That seems like a loaded question. Oh boy. I think we'd make a little bit of a political potluck, because there's a lot of stuff going on in our country right now that's is very interesting times for us.
And see, you didn't even struggle with that. Potluck's good. You get a little bit of everything, right?
A little bit of everything.
My third question, what advice would you give to a young adult about pursuing culinary management as a career?
Well, I mean, I would certainly encourage it. I mean, this is an industry where people really get, it's kind of known as they get their first jobs in restaurants or the culinary side, and then they go off and find a real job. But I'll just tell you, I mean, I've been in this for a long time. My father has, my family has, and it's something that you can really make a very meaningful career. And when you're serving people, you're seeing smiles on people's faces. You're taking care of people in a hospital and feeding them, giving them those hours of happiness where they're not thinking about why they're in the hospital, and college kids, and you're kind of creating this environment. It's very rewarding, and it's something that I like, and I think that my advice to somebody would be is really pursue this business as a real career, because it is one. And, this is the kind of industry where, we don't have, we don't have holidays off and weekends off. That's our busy time. And so you really got to have it. You got to have it. You got to have hospitality in your heart, and you want to take care of people, and not with anything and looking for anything in return, but really to make sure they have a wonderful experience, almost like you're treating somebody who's coming into your home. And so, that's the advice I would say, just make sure that, you have that hospitality in your heart, that you want to take care of people. And I promise you, if you work hard and you do the right thing, you work with integrity, and you really focus on delivering great guest experience, and making people happy, it'll be a rewarding career for anybody. And it's something that, it's like the American dream for our family. I mean, it's provided a life for our family that, we're just so proud of. And it's something that we give back to our team members. And I'm just so happy we have a business that we can kind of let people grow and thrive and kind of bring their ideas, but also have a career path where they're, my goal is for our team members to retire with us and not to worry about money and worry about just, having a good career with us. And so I think that would be my advice, really, it's a wonderful career, and it's a wonderful industry, and it's so big, but it's so small. And it's really just a great kind of family of people, and something we're very proud to be in and very lucky to be in.
Well, that's sound advice, and you certainly are a great person to offer any kind of advice or mentorship, given that you've spent so many years yourself and having the leadership of your dad. So great advice. My last question is, Jeff Metz, what do you want your legacy to be?
I'll tell you, I think, when I look back at, the career when I don't think I'll ever retire, and I get that from my father. But I think, just to be a good person and making sure that we have, my wife and I have 3 beautiful kids that are working hard in our environment, working hard and being good citizens. And then also to have a company that people feel like they were able to grow in our business and have a career, and take care of their families. And nothing gives me more pleasure to see our team members growing. We have people in our company that started out as cooks or dishwashers that are now managers or district managers, and really succeeding in life and enjoying their life. And I kind of feel happy that they've been part of our family. So I think if we can just continue on that path and continue to do the right thing, on a personal note of my wife and I raising our family the right way, but also in the company side, making sure that people feel like they're part of something bigger, and part of a company that cares, then I think I'll be pretty happy with that. And I think my father would too.
Well, that sounds like an amazing legacy, and I think you're definitely on the trajectory to making that happen with the way you live your life and how you're running your company. So, Jeff, it was so lovely to meet you virtually on Zoom and get to know you a little bit. And I just want to thank you for sharing your heart and your time and your expertise, and wish you nothing but the best for the remainder of this year and forward with your company.
Well, that goes for you too, Deb. And I appreciate the time to get to know you, and hopefully we can have some further conversations off this podcast, and stay in touch. But I certainly appreciate your time, and congratulations on all your success with the podcast and everything you're doing. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff. And I like to end the podcast with my list of 5 things that I believe really help us live a purposeful life. Follow your heart, have passion, do your best, know your truth, and remember to always be in love with the journey. This is Deb Crow. Thank you for joining me once again on Imperfect, the Heart-Centered Leadership podcast.